Welcome to the Siblings Movie Reviews Podcast. I am your host, Rashad. Joining me as always is my sister, Richauna.
Hello, everybody.
And my wife, Mika.
Hey.
If this is your first time joining us, we want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. For those podcast listeners that have been listening for a long time, we also want to welcome you to our news format. Moving forward, we're going to do video, and we're also going to be available on audio as well. So if you still want to listen to the podcast in your car or at work, still feel free to do that, but you'll also have a video option. We worked very hard to get this to you guys, so thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. All right, so we're going to change up the format a little bit for those people that are just here for spoilers. We're going to have a non-spoiler section first, and we're just going to give our short reactions, and then for people that want spoilers, we'll get into spoilers after that. So without further ado, today we are reviewing the movie They Cloned Tyrone. It is currently streaming on Netflix. This is going to be a non-spoiler reaction plus a full spoiler review. They Cloned Tyrone is starring John Boyega as Fontaine, Jamie Foxx as Slick Charles, Teyonah Paris as Yo-Yo, Kieffer Sutherland as Nixon, and David Alan Grier as the Preacher. They Cloned Tyrone is directed by Juel Taylor. Brief summary of the plot. A series of eerie events thrusts an unlikely trio onto the trail of a nefarious government conspiracy and a pulpy mystery caper. All right, so this movie, for me, it was kind of a mix between Pulp Fiction, the HBO series Westworld, and a little bit of Get Out in there a little bit because it dealt with some racial things, which we'll talk about, a little bit in the spoiler section. But I did like this movie. My biggest takeaway from this is probably the most original movie that came out this year, just because of the subject matter. If you haven't watched the trailers, which I guess the trailers don't give you the full details, but it's a lot of heavy sci-fi in this, and you wouldn't expect that from, I don't know a lot about Juel Taylor's work, but it was interesting to see his take on certain things. So I'll elaborate a little bit more about that in the spoiler section. But overall, I did like this movie, and since it's on Netflix, it was an easy stream. I think the 2-hour runtime was a little long. I would say I would have liked it more about the hour and 30-minute mark, or maybe hour 45-minute mark, but 2 hours felt a little bit long. But overall, I do recommend this movie, so please feel free to watch it. Go ahead, Mika.
This was an interesting movie, for sure. To me, it was kind of like a lot of twists and turns. You definitely had a lot of questions. I think for this movie and for it to be streaming on Netflix, you kind of have the luxury of being able to stop and start and rewind because you're trying to figure, okay, so what just happened and what are they talking about? And did this and all the trying to connect the dots because
right, which we did do a couple times.
Like then 15 minutes into the movie, we kind of had some pause and was trying to connect what was what. So, it was cool. I would definitely recommend if you at least see it at least once for sure. Yeah, it just kind of kept you in mystery, just trying to figure out how this was supposed to be playing out. But overall, it was cool.
Okay, Shauna.
This movie, They Cloned Tyrone, is a trip. It is a journey.
Absolutely.
And I would recommend it. Where it ends, though, is really kind of peculiar. It's really kind of odd how it ends.
I agree with that.
It takes you on a ride through the world and the mentality of people who believe in conspiracy. And it's always interesting when you talk to people who think that there's underhanded things going on in the world and they attach different theories and different approaches to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I just a little bit of backstory for me personally. I was hyped to see this movie when it first came out.
I was.
I was following it. It was originally supposed to come out in December, I believe.
Yeah, like 2022.
Yeah, just in 2022, like the last quarter of 2022, and I was drawn by the name alone.
Right.
And so
and the actors
too. Yeah, and it did not disappoint, but there's a little more that I'll get into. I'll say when we talk about spoilers, but I do recommend it. It is easily the most original film of 2023.
Absolutely.
I haven't watched a film in a very long time that I had to run back within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And get my mind together, like what is going on, and talk it out. We normally don't talk out stuff until the end, because a lot of but it's a really good thing that it was on Netflix for that reason alone.
Absolutely.
If you are looking for connections to the name, or you're trying to figure out, well, maybe you might be into whodunits and conspiracy type stuff, and you catch on really quickly.
Yeah.
But this is a trip.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We'll talk more about that a little bit later.
Yeah. All right. So that was just our initial reaction. So now, for all the people that don't want spoilers and don't want the movie ruined for you, please, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. So now we're going to go into full heavy spoilers. So 3, 2, 1, you've been warned. We're in the spoiler section. All right. So this movie, I wrote down so many things because my mind was going just so many places. First of all, the main thing, I was trying to figure out what time period was this movie.
Yeah, because it definitely seemed like we was hitting in the...
It seems like late 70s, early 80s, but they were making references to stuff that happened recently or...
Where my mind went with this was Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Because Julius and which was Samuel L. Jackson's character,
In Pulp Fiction,
and John Travolta's character, they played like back in the day kind of characters. It takes place in a time in a mental state to me. And some people are just stuck in a time warp. Right. And so I think in some of the parts that are down south, like near between Houston and Louisiana and some of those borderline Gulf cities, people live and operate like this. They're just stuck in a time, even though it's present day. Yeah. And so I think that, that was discussion during the film about what period of this was set in. Yeah. But the more that I thought about it, I think it was reflective of a mental state.
That's good. See, I hadn't thought about it like that because it was because all the what was it called, the scenery and the vehicles and even the soundtrack, the outfit
and the music,
everything
was kind of like late 70s. So, but like I said, they were starting making reference to Obama and SpongeBob and cryptocurrency. So I was like, what time period is
if you remember Pulp Fiction, it was like that. Yeah. It was present day stuff, but it was set in a time period. And it was really reflective of the mindset of the people of that in that film.
Right.
They acted like they were from a different era.
Yeah.
But it really was in present day.
Yeah. So another thing that kind of threw me off, which so John Boyega, who plays Fontaine, he was a drug dealer. Jamie Foxx, who plays Slick Charles, was a pimp, and Teyonah Paris, who plays Yo-Yo, was a whore. A hoe or a whore, or however you want to say that. So Kieffer Sutherland's character, Nixon, kind of made reference to that, so there's some racial themes in here, which is interesting. So I thought that was a little bit, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It was weird, but it was kind of like, okay, what are they trying to say here? because why did they choose those particular character? And they were very stereotypical of like the way that they wore their hair, their dress, especially Jamie Foxx. He was just straight out of a blaxploitation film, like some of the stuff he was saying. So it was kind of interesting that they chose, you know, that those characteristics for them. So
yeah, they intentionally did not tell us where it was set, what city and state. They called it the Glen, which is probably like a nickname for the neighborhood of Southern Town, USA. And like I said, I thought it was like somewhere towards the Gulf, like easy a Louisiana or a Texas town, like Houston or New Orleans.
So those are kind of the initial things that I questioned, now that we're in the spoiler section. I'll go ahead and pass it to Mika so she can get her full spoiler thoughts out.
I mean, it was definitely, to me, I just feel like the era of this movie was just definitely just back in the day. To me, there was nothing about it that seemed like present day as far as the atmosphere, the clothing, the hairstyles, the afros, the sideburns, the jackets, the cars, them being in the neighborhood. It kind of felt like we were like straight in the ghetto, basically, of just how they had this whole, just how the motels were, just all the things. None of it made it feel like it was anything present day outside of their, future innuendos or whatever, as they were explaining certain things in their conversation wise to reference like Obama or Michelle, or, all the things, that they were, cryptocurrency, all those things that are talking, in present wise.
Yeah.
It was kind of, it was confusing as, it was like what was going on. And because I was trying to figure out who Tyrone was, because the name is They Cloned Tyrone, as we discussed and kind of figured out, okay, well, Tyrone was not in the movie. He was not the character per se.
That he showed up at the end.
Yeah, but it's but it's not John Boyega's character, who was Fontaine. He kept being a clone, like we discussed about what's the movie Groundhog Day, and how the same incident happens every single day. You know what I'm saying? And he wakes up and then he goes to the convenience store and then he pours a drink to the older man and all the things that were happening, like his deja vu. And then you're trying to figure out, okay, so he got shot in this scene. So then he's supposed to be dead, but then now he's alive. And then, okay, like we're trying to figure, okay, so what's happening and why is this happening? So like I said, it seemed kind of confusing in different spots, trying to piece everything together, trying to make everything make sense. But I mean, it was cool overall. It definitely had some funny parts. We definitely laughed. There were a lot of scenes that just kind of like out the ordinary. It definitely seemed like an original film. I think this director is a new director. I know that he's worked on Creed before.
Oh, really? I didn't look at and see anything that I knew it.
But this is supposed to be like his first film or whatever. So I mean, I thought it was a cool deal. But just talking about the different things, as they brought in racism, they, and thinking about how like the government kind of has like mind control over people. They're using music, they're using this product. I think it was called Compound H or something like that. Where they're putting inside like hair products and cereal and like I said, music and chicken. And as the people take in these products, what I'm saying, some of these products are making people feel depressed. Some of them is making them laugh and just making them sleepy, making them zone out and tune out. And so all about it just kind of brings you to present day as we talk about AI and and all these different conspiracy things that the government is trying to control people. And in this particular movie, we're kind of like talking about controlling a particular demographic of people, which is Black people, African American people, and them this, as maybe we think of it as what do we call the people, the powers that be, they
the government. We
sure, we'll just go with that. But like they have all these
the Illuminati.
Yeah, the Illuminati. Like they have all these cameras everywhere, and they're like watching the people and they're watching to see, because they're experiments. So they're watching to see how they react and how they respond as they're taking in these products, and at the beauty shops and the perms, and what it's doing to the people, and when they massage stuff in their hair because it's getting into their scalp. We talked about it being in their bloodstream, and then what it's doing if they play a particular song in the club, and then it gets them hypnotized. Like, just feel like, you're being under control. You're being controlled by something and not even knowing it. You know what I'm saying? And then, quite frankly, that's like a scary thing if you want to just keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to think that this is what is possibly could be happening, you know what I'm saying, even in real daytime, you know what I'm saying, for somebody to be putting stuff in products that are trying to get a certain type of effect from the people, you know what I'm saying? And, when you think about things, not to try to go off on a deep end, but when you think about things that can make the people sick or whatever the case may be, those are talks and conspiracies of things of what they trying to do to the people, to do certain things to people. For example, let's just say kill people off or make people sick or whatever the case, whatever you want to come up with that has been come up in over time, thinking, they're listening to your conversations. You can get on your phone, look on YouTube, or you can look on Google, whatever, and then you're talking about something, and then 10 minutes later, you got everything in your playlist and your feed telling you about what you just got through talking about, and showing you ads and different stuff like that. So that's where kind of my mind was going to, of just thinking about all the things that they're collectively kind of putting things in a movie, but you can kind of see the contrast of how you see things kind of present day, of how things has transpired just with social media and the internet. I can go on and on, but all the things.
All right, Shauna.
Well, I was gonna start from the beginning because basically we learn that Fontaine is a dope boy, and we've seen different types of dope boys throughout movies, but he's not really any different than what we've seen before. He's on the block. He's trying to maintain territory.
Yeah.
He's fighting off people who are trying to come in. And there's a little boy that he's kind of partial to that, is his snitch. And, he pays him off to kind of find out, where people are that owes him money. And so there was Junebug, which was the little boy that was the paid snitch that leads him to try to find Jamie Foxx's character, which is Slick Charles. But before he finds Slick Charles, he runs into another drug dealer that's trying to take over the area. Mm-hmm. And his leader is Isaac.
Yeah.
And so, it was interesting to me how later in the film that Isaac and Fontaine end up partnering. It didn't necessarily work for me. It was like in other movies, we've not seen that be there. They are enemies.
Yeah.
And trying to claim territory over the same area. And it just, to me, I understand in the end why he needed to be partnered with Isaac, but it kind of was like a little hokey.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. But the story kept us on our toes.
Yeah.
I don't recall a movie in recent time that I've had to rewind to say, okay, now what just happened? And I knew it from almost 5 minutes in when I wasn't paying attention. I don't know what I was doing, but I had missed something that was important. I was like, okay, usually I know within the first 5-10 minutes of a movie if I can multitask while I'm watching. This wasn't one of them movies. No. You have to pay attention to every word, every visual, because it's the nuance, it's the subtleties, it's the little things that lead you through the story.
Like any little clues or something.
Yes, very, very, very detailed writers of this movie. And so then when we get to the part where Fontaine is shot by Isaac, and we start this groundhog thing, this groundhog-ish sequence where he's reliving certain parts of his day but it's actually the next day. But it's repetitive, which is, to me, I see the importance of that. How many of us live our lives like that, where we have a routine that we follow every single day? Fontaine's routine was he gets up, he works, he pushes weights or he lifts weights, and then he goes to the corn store, get his 40 and gets his scratch off, and then pours the neighborhood sage a little bit of his beer. And it's like, who has this type of routine? And even if your routine is not identical to that, do you live your life like that? You get up out of the bed, you go wash, you put some water on your face, you wash your face, you brush your teeth, or you take a shower, or however, whatever your routine is, you grab something to eat, you eat it, or you grab it on the way to the car. Like, people live their lives like that. And so I thought, okay, well, that's really interesting. But all of this was the clone. The clone had a routine, and then he would go and check on his mom, and then he would look at the refrigerator, and he would, always see that the picture of who was supposed to be his brother, his brother Ronald, was on that refrigerator. He'd check on his mom, make sure his mama needed to eat. His mama would tell him she was watching the stories, or that it had some food from somewhere else and she really wasn't hungry. Yeah. We've seen this play out 2 to 3 times before it is revealed to us that, number one, the mama wasn't even the mama. It was a tape recorder inside the room.
And I kind of felt like that was the situation because I kept hearing the conversations be the same. So I was like, oh, I bet it's fake.
So. Which is crazy.
Like they even really explained that part.
No, they didn't. And it's kind of frustrating because I'm trying to figure out why was it important for us to see that the mom was not real. Yeah. What does that have to do with? We learn later that Fontaine is a clone. He's not a real person at all. Yeah. There are multiples of him in other cities. Yeah. And so when we get to the part of meeting the original, the manufacturer of Fontaine, the older guy, he tells the story about the brother, and that it was in fact his brother. Now, it would have been nice if he would have threw something about the mama in there. And
I was thinking something maybe happened to the mom and the brother when they had the in loving memory of the little boy on the refrigerator. So we obviously knew that he died. So we were just thinking that, oh, that was his brother.
Yeah, it would have been nice for them to kind of throw something in there to tie that.
And it was revealed that his brother Ronald was killed by a racist cop.
Yeah, and it's implied. It is not stated straight out that it was a racist cop or that it was a persuasion cop, but they do indicate that that's the direction it went.
For stealing some candy.
Yeah, for stealing some candy. We already talked about the clothes and how I, said I believe that was part of the mental theme actually throughout the movie to show people being stuck in a certain era. Yeah, I know people like this. I won't name no names. We kind over here, but I do know people who have been stuck in eras and they've worn jerry curls way past the time they should, or they would wear. Yeah, I'm going to go further because then if I start saying stuff, then I might get in trouble. So some of the other things that were that were interesting to me, the white dude. So we're introduced to no, the clone dude that was
the afro
with the afro that we first met when they were in the trap house. And for y'all who don't know, we may have some people who don't quite understand. Now, this term has been around probably for about the last 10, 15 years. It's basically just an abandoned house that is used for drugs. So you get served your drugs or you use your drugs in this house. When you're in this house, you are trapped in, you are locked down, you are stuck. Yeah. And so, that's hence the name. And so, and they all are different. You'll see stuff on YouTube that'll kind of try to tell you, they're all similar, but it's the same purpose, but everyone's different. And so I thought it was interesting that was used. That type of house was used, and that the key card, that was the other thing that was interesting to me. A governmental key card, like a high clearance or a high security, if anybody knows about, certain jobs where you have to have permissions and levels and those type of things. Well, they find this and, this is the key to get to inside of this underground world.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was really interesting to me was the church scene. Whenever these movies throw church scenes in there, it's always different.
Yeah.
And this one was very unique in that they go into a chant to Back That Booty Up by Juvenile. And
I didn't even know it was that song until you said something.
It was like chopped and screwed almost. It was like very slowed down. And then they go into this duty whine and booty moving. And I mean, I fell out laughing the first time. And I said, you know what?
Yeah.
Satan, the Lord rebuke. I'm not going to be laughing at this. They trying to tell us something.
Wow.
And so it was very interesting that the people were entranced, y'all. They was entranced by this music to distract them from being surveillance, from being watched. And so it's a very, like I said in the beginning, this is a trippy movie. And
So on that note, the product, this compound H was also in the grape juice that they were serving as communion in the church.
The grape drink.
The grape drink,
the grape
juice, whatever. Drank. And the people was drinking for, communion.
yeah, they had
within
this
the
same
tree.
drink. Yes, because thank you for saying that, because right before that, Slick finds it and he's like, great drink. And then it shows up as the communion drink. So yeah. It's some crazy stuff in here, but it is it's a movie that you want to watch very carefully. Pay attention to all the details. Very, very detailed. If there's one thing that I really love about this movie, is all the details.
So this is almost a movie which we haven't done one of these in a while, where you would almost kind of watch it again to kind of catch the details, because there's a lot of symbolism and a lot of just wow. I mean, especially with the grape drink, that actually is a reference to a Dave Chappelle skit. It was, well, I guess he did it in the stand-up where he was making a reference to when he was a kid. He used to go over his friend's house and they used to have drinks in the refrigerator, and he was like, they would have all these plethora of drinks and like Kool-Aid, orange juice, Sunny D, and then he was like, the one thing that he was looking for was the grape drink, because he's like, move all that other stuff out the way. Give me the grape drink. So I thought that was hilarious.
Grape drink is the equivalent of Domitar, like medicine.
Oh, like what?
Yeah, you don't remember Domitar from when we was a kid?
Like cough medicine?
Yes.
Oh,
all the things. And then on that church scene, then it's like after everybody's out the church, then you have, Fontaine and Yo-Yo and Slick in the church, and then they put the key inside the communion table, and then it unlocks it to bring opens up the elevator to take you down to the underworld. So it's like, as I mentioned before, not to interrupt what you're saying, but like as I mentioned before, just so they have all these different revenues of how they are getting their product in. So you're getting the product in through the church to mesmerize people. You get into the beauty shop or
chicken house.
Yes,
to the beauty shop.
Everything.
Every place that the community uses and frequents, and they gather or they utilize, it's infiltrated into the system, like the 80s crack epidemic.
Oh yeah.
And so, just a really brilliant movie in terms of use of themes and symbols. And so I'm going to wrap up my thing here. The end.
Yeah. The ending. See, that's the only thing that I really didn't like. So currently it's getting a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score is 100%. It's a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of those that's an easily rewatchable movie just because of the symbolism and the references and stuff that you won't catch the first time. Like I said, we had to rewind it. We wasn't that far in, but we had to restart it from the beginning just to say like, wait, we missed some stuff. So I think it's getting that high of a score because I think it's just original. Like we kind of talked about in the Mission Impossible episodes, like, were they recycling the scripts? Because it was like, this is the same movie over again. So I think that it definitely was a breath of fresh air as far as, story, plot. Like I've never seen any movie ever like this. And it was, like I say, it was entertaining. The performances stood out, especially from John Boyega, especially from Teyonah Paris.
Yes.
So
Jamie.
Jamie's being Jamie. You know, he's all.
I think he had a ball with this.
Yeah.
Because this is right up his alley.
Right. So, you know, I think it deserves that rating, but there's some stuff in there that is just, the ending was super weird. That was the only thing I really didn't like, because it really didn't tie up. Like, you get all this build up and you're like, okay, was that it? So
they killed off the granddad, or the OG Fontaine. And then everybody's free. And they released everybody, like butt ball naked. They was in chambers. Wait a minute, y'all. They was in chambers, butt ball naked. And they released them. And then they're walking in the street on the news with booties blared out because they was trapped in the trap. Yeah, it was crazy. I'm like, okay, so they're free because they killed the black man that created them.
Yeah.
No. Sorry. That,
the ending was a let.
You took so much to build, and you added so much juice from the first 15 minutes in. We had to run it back at 15 minutes.
Right.
And then, we got through the middle and we get to the end only to be like, it kind of reminded me of one of them letdowns of Tyler Perry.
Don't put Tyler Perry's name in this.
But other than that, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Don't give me no cluster at the end. You made me mad.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go around the room, wrap it up, and give our final thoughts. I'll start with you again, Mika.
I thought it was cool. Like we said time and time, that it was an original. It did bring up a lot of different subjects and conversations and thoughts, from present day to what's going on to, like I said, the government watching and how they're viewing and the things that they're doing, and how you can relate those things to present day. That just brings the conversation. But overall, I thought it was an original movie. Definitely a lot of laughs. Just, because it was a movie that made you question and trying to put the pieces together, because it was kind of mysterious in a way. For me, I think because of the originality, I think I would give a 3.5 or 4,
okay,
for sure. The ending, not so much, just because it probably could have had a bigger bang.
Yeah.
To make it what it do. I think that's
the bang.
Yeah, it wasn't a bang for me, but yeah, it was cool for sure. I would watch it again, because I feel like, there was some other parts maybe that we could have possibly missed.
Yes, there's so much.
Okay, Shauna.
There was so much. And so I'm gonna give this movie a 4. It ties in perfectly with the week's hot topic of Carly Russell, the girl that staged her own abduction, or allegedly. We won't.
Oh, that's not even.
Yeah, it ties in. It ties in with that because it shows us the type of surveillance that does occur, and how that town, Hoover, Alabama, they were able to pull from her phone. They were able to pull from the surveillance from the highway. They were able to use her search history. They knew she went to Target and bought snacks. All these things.
All the things.
So you guys, and people who are suspicious and conspiracy theorists, you do what you want with that information. They laid it out for you. The whoever that man was in the blue and purple, he put on his Spinista suit to show y'all how much information they were able to track Carly with. And so you all, you conspiracy people, y'all do what y'all want with that. As for me in my house, I have been well informed this week, and I love Jesus. So yeah, I give it a 4.
All right, for me, I'm right there with you. I'll give it a 4 as well, just because it was original. The originality was off the charts. The originality would almost push it to a 4.5, but the ending was just a big letdown. So I loved the acting. The acting was great. I love the entire plot of the movie was very interesting, very new, very fresh. I really laughed at a lot of parts of this movie, just because you could tell when you can see people's energy on screen when they're really enjoying what they're doing. So I thought that came off.
Yeah, I let out some big laughs too, and then I had to stop myself. I was like, "Wait, let me pay attention. Let me pay attention."
So again, for that reason, I'll give it a 4 as well. So, all right. Well, if that's it, thanks again for listening.
Thank
you again for watching. Again, this is our new format. So again, if you want to listen to the audio, feel free to do that. But now you always have the video.
And also, you'll be able to give us your feedback. We are so excited for you all to see this because we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
So put it in the comments. What do you like? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Give us your feedback.
Yeah.
And we look forward to reading and learning about our audience in this way.
God has blessed us to be able to do this. We're in a special place, and we appreciate you guys. That's why we say thank you, because again, we started this just because we love movies.
It was fun.
And it's been an amazing journey. Like my sister said, I think on the last episode, that was our year anniversary. So now we're hitting the ground running, and we got a lot of exciting things coming up down the road for you. So thanks again. And with that being said, see you soon.